Welcome to Whiskey's a Journey. My name is Peter Fastiano, and today I've kind of got a strange Friday lineup for you. I was looking at my collection, and there were certain bottles that didn't quite fit into the typical or traditional age-stated single malt scotches. Now, when I'm thinking about age-stated scotches, I think 10, 12, 15, 18. And because I'm doing this Friday flight, trying to figure out the best scotch in my collection, these didn't quite fit. So what we're going to do today is take a look at 4 non-traditional or odd age-stated scotches. If you are new to the channel and you like this information and you're not subscribed, do me a favor and subscribe to the channel. Do all those things that YouTubers ask you to do. And if you've had any of these in a lineup, where would you place them? Let's get on with this with bottle number 1. Glenallachie 8. This is coming in at 46% ABV. It's natural color, non-chill filtered, and the cask maturation on this is Pedro Jimenez, Oloroso Sherry, Virgin Oak, and red wine. I paid $79.99, and if you don't know, I'm in Phoenix, Arizona. That's going to be in glass number 1. Moving on to bottle number 2. Glenallachie 13. This is another 46% ABV. It's non-chill filtered. I'm not positive about coloring or not. Let me know in the comments down below if you know. This cask maturation is bourbon X sherry, and then 50% of that blend goes into first fill sherry, and then the other half goes into first fill bourbon. And this is $58.49 at the time that I bought this. I think it's a little bit more now, and that is going into glass number 2. Bottle number 3, Glenallachie 14. Again, this is another 46% ABV. It is non-chill filtered, probably. And as far as color goes, it doesn't really say anything. I'm not positive on either one. There might be some chill filtration happening, and there might be some color added. Probably more than likely there's more color added than there is chill filtration. But again, if you know anything different, let me know in the comments down below. The information on coloring and non-chill filtration is a little bit hard to come by for that one. That's going to be in glass number 3. I paid $81.99. And the cask maturation is ex-bourbon. And then the 4th and final bottle, we got Glenfarclas 17. This one is coming in at a little low at 43% ABV. There might be some chill filtration happening, but it is natural color. And the cask maturation on this, I believe all Glenfarclas, maybe not all of them, but the majority of Glenfarclas are all sherry cask or Oloroso sherry cask matured. And I paid $114.99. That's going to be in glass number 4. Let me go ahead and clear these things out of here, mix up the glasses, and get this thing going. Now, on the bottom of these, I have the stickers. I also am using the black Glencairns because I don't want the color of some of these to give something away. And I also don't want to try to guess what's in the glass, even though I know what 4 bottles I have, and it's going to be very difficult for me not to think about what's in the glass. But I want to get these things to have a fair shake within this lineup without me trying to guess. So, like I had mentioned before, if you know these single malts and you've had them, let me know where you would rank them. If you've had them in a blind, let me know where they ended up ranking. And if you have any other odd age stated scotches that I should be looking at, let me know in the comments down below. They smell very sweet. I've got my paper in front of me. I've got my water over here. I'm gonna go from my right this time and work my way to the left, nose them, taste them, give you my initial thoughts, and then I'm just gonna speed this next part up where I go back the other direction, get them all ranked, and then come back and let you know what my order is and which one's gonna be the winner, and move on to the finals. Let's get this going with glass number 1. All right, this has a very floral note to it. Get a good amount of vanilla, some, I want to say cinnamon, but it's not. Maybe it is a little bit cinnamon. Cinnamon, vanilla, floral. That's tough. I want to say oak, cinnamon, floral. And the ABV is coming through. And we got some good amount of malt as well, which is typical because it's a single malt scotch. But this smells really good. Let's go ahead and get it on the palate. Oh man, that is really good. That malt shines through. The ABV is pretty nice. overall, it's pretty floral. The floral on the nose is also coming through on the palate. It's almost like you're smelling flower stems or just flowers in general, just a bouquet of flowers. It's that floral. Yeah, I like that quite a bit. Let's go ahead and move on to glass number 2. Oh, this one smells strange. Not strange in a bad way, but there's a lot going on. Get a little bit of sherry, a little bit of vanilla. That malt is really coming through as well. Got a little bit of a funkiness going on. A little bit of damp or wet cardboard, like musty attic. I've never really been in a rick house to actually smell like the angel share of the whiskey that's in there, but this has a pretty good ABV nose to it, if that makes any sense. I mean, it smells like you're smelling alcohol just in the air. And there's a little bit of a floral and waxy note that's coming out of this one as well. It smells so much different than the first one. Let's go ahead and get it on the palate. Now that's got a pretty good ABV punch right up front. They do get a little bit of sherry. That malty note is really good and sweet. Maybe a little bit of spice, like pepper spice or white pepper spice, bordering on ginger. You know how ginger does have a little bit of a spice to it? Boy, that's really good as well. Good vanilla, good malt, good sherry. I don't know if I'm picking up on any oak, but there is a ginger spice that goes along with a white pepper as well. I like that quite a bit, and very much different than glass number 1. All right, let's get a rinse here. All right, glass number 3. All right, coming off of the first two, there is a sherry note, but not necessarily a very dominant one. I'm not picking up on as much ABV as I did these first two, especially coming off of this one. All right, let's get it on the palate. It's coming across a little bit soft. There's some butterscotch in there along with some sherry notes. Not a whole lot of ABV to speak of, but that is well-rounded, nothing sharp, good amounts of malt, but it's mostly sherry forward with some butterscotch. That's good as well. All right, let's get on to glass number 4. I tell you what, these are all really good. I am not worried, but I'm anticipating the finals on these scotches. The Scotch finals are going to be extremely difficult to find the winner of my winners. Okay, this smells like bubblegum and malt. Behind that, there's a tremendous amount of dark raisin, maybe a little bit of plum and fig. Yeah, this smells the sweetest of all of them. If I were to actually pick out one that is a sherry bomb, this would be it. All right, let's go and get this thing on the palate. All right, that's good. It's a little bit drying, but that bubblegum note is really shining through quite a bit. And this is just a wild guess, and I don't know if this is actually true or not. Nobody has actually mentioned this in any of the comments. When I've had that bubblegum note before, I don't know if that indicates youth. This is extremely sweet. I do get a dark raisin, fig, and plum note, but the overlying taste that I'm actually getting is bubblegum. And it would be somewhere around a cherry bubblegum or a strawberry bubblegum, some sort of red type fruit bubblegum. It's good, but it seems to be a little bit out of place as far as like depth of character that these two have. My initial thoughts, these are going to be vying for first place. These are going to be vying for last place. So what I'm going to end up doing is going back the other direction. I'm going to speed this up like I had mentioned before, get a little rinse of water, take a little bit of notes, and then when I get back, hopefully I'll have a order and a winner. All right, I am back. And I think of all of the lineups that I've done so far, there is definitely a clear-cut loser within this lineup, and that's going to be glass number 4. That bubblegum note, that malt note, the figs, dates, raisins, plums, all of those were not necessarily melding together or blending together in a way that was enjoyable based on these other three. That's gonna finish in 4th place. Right next to it is third place. I do like the malty notes that are in here. That butterscotch flavor is really good, but the sherry and the overall experience and the depth of this seems to be lacking. And I think this is the lowest ABV of all of them. I don't really get a warmth. I don't get any kind of reaction in the mouth. It just hits and disappears. And the finish on this is not very long at all. But what's in the glass, I do enjoy a little bit more than the bubblegum note that's in this one. So that is going to be in my third place. So now I have a decision to make for my first and second. One of them is pretty sherried and the other one is pretty much vanilla forward. I get a little bit more depth and character in this one than I do in glass number one. The malt note and the vanilla and the ABV that I get out of here are really good. It's well-rounded. There's nothing sharp with this one whatsoever. There seems to be a little bit more depth to this one. I get sherry, I get vanilla, I get oak, I get a little bit of funkiness in it. It's a little bit floral, but not nearly as floral as this one. I think they're both a little bit funky and a little bit waxy, but when it comes right down to it, glass number one is going to be in second place, and in first place will be glass number two. I feel that this has more depth, more character. You can actually sit down with this and explore it a little bit more. It has complexity that this one does not, even though I think all of them, with the exception of one of them, are 46% ABV. I think this drinks a little bit hotter than 46. And when I'm saying that it's drinking hotter, not hotter in a bad way, I feel that this is drinking above its proof, which again, it makes it a little bit more interesting rather than just being waxy, floral, and vanilla. So let's go ahead and figure out what it is that I was actually drinking. So 4, 3, 2, 1. In fourth place, I thought was the Glenallachie, and it is. It's the Glenallachie 8. I think I really did pick up on the bubblegum note when I first had this, and it never went away. So I think that was the Glenallachie, and it turned out to be it. And then that bubblegum note is the thing that put it in fourth place. In third place, I thought this was the Glenfarclas, and yes, it is. It's the Glenfarclas 17. I think the ABV on this one kind of gave it away along with the sherry note. In second place, the floral note, the waxy note, and the vanilla note with lacking of all sherry, I think the Clynelish. I think this has to be the Clynelish. And I can't even read my own writing. And yes, Clynelish 14. Clynelish 14 is, in my opinion, one of those whiskeys that you really need to try. It is so much different than any of the other scotches that are out there. And if you're looking for something that, and I didn't mention this, if you're looking for something that has a smokiness to it, but not necessarily a peatiness to it, that is something that you can try. Which means in my first place and moving on to my Scotch finals is the Craigellachie 13. I like this one quite a bit. Each time I go back to it, I find more and more notes that I didn't get in the beginning. So let me know in the comments down below if you've had any of these and what you think of them. The last thing I'm going to do is put a little of this in another Glencairn, do a little bit of a blend on my own, and see what I think. All right, so a little bit of Clynelish, and then the Craigellachie, the Glenfarclas, and then the Glenallachie. Boy, that Glenallachie was dark. All right, get this incorporated a little bit, roll it around in the glass, see what we have on the nose. All right, that floral waxy note is jumping out of the glass. A lot of vanilla, lots of malt. A little bit of sherry, but not as much sherry as I expected there to be based on 3 of them being sherried whiskeys. Good amounts of butterscotch, but overall I would say floral waxy. All right, let's get this thing on the palate. All right, that's a little bit interesting. There's a good pepper note that jumps out. There's more sherry on the palate than there is on the nose. Malty sweet, and those vanilla notes are coming through as well. It's actually pretty good. Yeah, it's not bad. I think it's definitely something that you could probably play with the ratios a little bit, add a little bit less waxy and floral and a little bit more sherry if you want to. It doesn't come across as funky, dirty, or gritty like these first two do. It balances out, well, I don't want to say balances out, but it smooths it out a little bit, and it's more of your typical Scotch, your typical single malt Scotch. Yeah, not bad. You can kind of work on it, like I mentioned, mess with the ratios, but it's definitely not bad. I've had worse blends. So that's where I'm going to leave it. Wherever you're at in your journey, I hope you are enjoying it. Until the next time, we'll talk to you later. Bye.